Because of my particular job, and when I was quite young, I was apprenticed in a pharmacy, which you did in those days. Browne-Lecky was a customer, and I remember serving him on this particular day, and his requirements were of a cosmetic variety. In fact, I can still remember the product that he ordered. It was a product called Atkinson's Skin Deep.
What I'm really inspired by is his generosity, because sometimes people who have lots of money might be known for keeping it and holding on to it, but he was so generous in his passing that he shared it with everyone. And and Fintona's a really rich town because of that. It has its Ecclesfield Centre, it has Fintona Golf Club, and everyone talks fondly of him that does remember him.
I remember Browne-Lecky more than I remember any of those other celebrities. He had his own theatre end of it, when he would be putting on shows and stuff. Browne-Lecky would have opera and plays. Of course, you would have the singing.
I can remember him being very tall and slender and wearing this coat. I think it was a grey colour, very fine. Came in at the waist, accentuated his nice waist, and then flowed down in these lovely folds.
Jeff Dorian, and my mother was the housekeeper. Come everything, So, and then I had a wee job. I was 14, going on 9. And
so were you 14 or were you 9?
No, I was 14. But anyway, got this wee job, and it was the open all hours, the bike with that carries the groceries in the front. I would have taken the groceries to Browne-Lecky's. Nearly every couple of days I'd been up and down to it, and my mother was a housekeeper. So I would have met Browne-Lecky a few times,
I distinctly remember this big car, dual coloured, olive green as far as I can recall, very square shaped. It would have been probably an old Bentley or something. And I can remember a runner board along where the driver and passenger got out. There was a runner board on each side. The next thing the car stopped and the two of us were standing looking, as children do. The next thing a man got out in a uniform with a hat, a greyish uniform, got out, chauffeur obviously, got out of his door and opened the back door. This tall man got out and stood up, and Ernest said, "Do you know who that is?" And he says, "That's a Browne-Lecky." He was striking in that he was very tall and slender. I'm not sure, but I think he had a thin moustache, but that might be my imagination. But I can remember him being very tall and slender and wearing this coat. I think it was a grey colour, very fine. Came in at the waist, accentuated his nice waist, and then flowed down in these lovely folds, soft folds, down quite long, not to the ground, but mid-calf. And he got up and straightened himself. He probably had a walking stick, a fancy walking stick. And I remember he came over to us and he said, "Such pretty little girls, 2 lovely little girls who were standing." And when I was young, when I was a child, I had curly hair. I still have it. Of course, you don't see it today. But I had curls, and my curls were a passport to an awful lot of attention. So Ernie and I were looking, and he says, "2 lovely little girls." And I wondered, "What's your name? What's your name?" And then he came over to me and he said, "Would you give me one of those lovely curls?" And I didn't.
Raymond Browne-Lecky, he did have a private club,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a golf course or club that we
Okay.
would have known. Very short and very limited with the number of people who would have been allowed, I suppose, or asked, invited to play. But then I suppose it became into difficult to maintain and all that sort of stuff. Some of the local people in the town, I remember the McNulty family, 2 or 3 others, they decided that it would be nice to get a golf club here.
Because my mother used to cross the course here. One of the golfers at the time gave her a bit of a rollicking because she was crossing the course, and he left her in tears. A big soft woman. She went on up to work, and Browne-Lecky was at home at the time, and of course he wasn't happy about that. So he told her, he said, "Look, if you want to cross the course," but there was a wee gate lodge, so he allocated that to us. But we'd got a council house the same month. We were moving out of an old rough house, and there was no comparison because the wee gate lodge still had no the stuff that the ordinary council house would have. So we moved to the council house, but we didn't go to the gatehouse.
So there has been some workshops to capture some of the images that we have seen in these presentations of Raymond Browne-Lecky that we really liked or remarked on as the most significant. My significant one was whenever Raymond Browne-Lecky was standing side by side with his partner Joel at the reception of a friend's wedding.
This iconic LGBT person who's passed now many, many years, but keeping his memory alive, you know. So I'm really delighted to kind of bring in an artistic element to that and create new pieces of artwork that's inspired by him. And this work will be out there for people to see and connect with and inspire, hopefully, as well, you know. If you can be a brave person being a female impersonator, like way back then, you know, it's encouraging for the people who do it now.
I can still smell the perfume.
I still remember the product that he ordered. Atkinson's Skin Deep is what it was. And I think it was a facial covering on that, I don't remember.
So I travelled up to Fintona on the premise that a person of gender non-conforming identity who lived just over 60 years ago here in Fintona, very well-off person, and the interest captivated me whenever they were expressly gender non-conforming.
You know, when I met him, a few times that I met him, I knew he was different. I couldn't sort of, you know, this was Browne-Lecky. He was a femininely dressed, sort of.
What kind of dress?
Oh, he wore a big long coat, and I can still see it. And then, of course, funny, he used to wear the brogue shoes with the white and black. And then he had this like a big fur thing around, cold, you see. And then yet, even around the town and stuff, I never heard any derogatory or, you know, the way gay people and at that time suffered a lot. But no, never heard anything derogatory, anything about Browne-Lecky. And I was glad of that, you know, because I had a nice memories. He was able to live out his life seemingly happily.
For some reason, I remember Browne-Lecky more than I remember any of those other celebrities did. You know, he was like a celebrity.
Well, he was actually, you see, because, like I said to you before, because I would have been going to the same church, and because he was, I think he must have been a regular church goer. He was there, and I remember him, and he came out to his two-tone green car that he had, an Austin 10 or 12, or a big Austin. And I remember all of those things, and they were impressive. And the last time that I saw him, I'm sure he was laying or helping to laying, I suppose, the foundation stone of the hall, the church hall across from the church. I
have a photograph
and I have
of
a
that.
picture of that
I
as
have a
well.
picture of
Yes,
that.
you would have. And he was that sort of a celebrity.
I suppose you would call them sideboard ornaments for, you know, the grand old antique sideboards, and one of them is a blue dish, presumably for fruit or some sort of little trinkets, and the other one is a plate, more or less for the same type of thing. And we bought them at the final closing auction of the Browne-Lecky household after it had been a home for a couple of years, and then it was cleared out altogether.
During the auction, there were big long tables of silver and rings, and gold, and armour. I can remember the armour, the figures, you know, the suits of armour and stuff. They'd have been sitting. When you went in through the main doors, there was a big staircase when we were up like that, you know, and then these suits of armour each side of it.
Ecclesville Park was his land. He lived there, and that this resource of the community was given to the community.
St. Lawrence's Catholic Church, that was the Eccles family that gave them that ground.
I was up about the house with my mother during that auction. This lady came to me and she said, would you like to give me and my sister a wee hand taking, we bought stuff. And I started to carry the stuff out for them. It was Irish linen. And they had a wee beach wagon Morris Minor. They had the two doors open and I started to put the stuff in, went in, got more linen, put it in. And all of a sudden I got a tap on the shoulder and it was a young fella and he was CID. He was the police. The two women had stolen Irishman. Oh, there was a lot of stuff went missing during the auction. My mother was, she got a program, she got a thing to stay in one of the rooms so everybody would. But anyway, this clergyman came in and he took one of the paintings and he just walked straight past my mother. And then the auctioneer had moved to the room that my mother was, and that one of these paintings was missing. My mother felt terrible about that because she was posted in this room.
And there was a beautiful staircase in it, and that was, I don't know whether it was broken up, whether it was taken away, it was just...
The fireplaces went out of it?
Yes, everything went away.
Some of the light fittings, I mean, it was beautiful.
It was a lovely house.
And
all the chattels with them.
that was all, I remember...
Totally fine.
I remember my mother going up for a walk and she came back down and she was literally crying.
What I'm really inspired by is his generosity, because sometimes people who have lots of money might be known for keeping it and holding on to it, but he was so generous in his passing that he, shared it with everyone. And, and Fintona is a really rich town because of that. It has its Ecclesville Centre, it has the Fintona Golf Club, and everyone talks fondly of him that does remember him.
I've never ever heard anyone say a bad word.
No, he wasn't at all. He wasn't an offensive or whatever landlord as the old days would have been.
No, he definitely wasn't.
That really stands true to his legacy.